We all know the tried and true ways to use double stops, the good old unison bend, the gnarly bend, and of course the Chuck Berry. These are all cool techniques, but what if you find yourself craving to do something new, some kind of double stop that you haven't seen before? That's what we're here to talk about today. Music with Marky's double stops, now new and improved. I have 4 examples here for you of ways you can take double stops and unison bend type double stops and use them in new and unique ways. The first one, I'm going to break you out of that pentatonic blues box that you so commonly use. It's going to be an A minor, and we're going to take from this shape here, with the usual double stops you would use, that stuff that all falls under the fingers in pentatonic, and we're going to move it up a third so that we're playing it here in what would be the harmony, the C major area of the scale. Let me play it against a bit of background music so you can see what I'm talking about. So you saw there, I used everything within this box that's a third above the pentatonic scale, and it's what I call a whole step box. I do have a lesson on that. I'll link that up here. And basically, if you take the top notes of the pentatonic, which is the highest notes at the end of it, so on your B and E string, you have E to G, A to C. We're going to start on the G and the C now and use all of the notes in the scale. So you have 2 whole steps. You go up a whole step here and a whole step here, and then you take that note and do it again. You end up with this box. And I can use any permutation of 2 notes within the box to make some cool stuff. I've got the unison bend here, and when it comes down, it's only a major 7th apart, which has that really cool dissonant sound. When you play the blues one, you have the minor 7th, totally different sound than the major 7th. And then I can play, if I'm just anchoring on the C note, go down here and make it a third, play the 4ths, the 5ths. Any mix of those notes in the box creates some pretty cool double stops. Let's look at the second example. Here I'm going to do something similar to that with using thirds and 4ths and 5ths, but I'm going to use it to replace the climactic ending of a solo where you might do a quick run, or like that old Eddie Van Halen build that kind of release at the end. I'm going to use double stops to get there. So you can see again, I'm using any combination of notes in the key on the B and E string, and this is what I call playing horizontally, by the way. I do have another Rutbuster lesson on that. I'll link it up here. It's getting to know the scale on just those 2 strings. But I'm finding my way to build up to this octave A note by using double stops and dyads. Something like that really has a nice climactic ending to it, and I'm not going to break down the specific lick that I'm using because it's just conceptually what I want you to get is mixing the dyads on those 2 strings to build up to that final resolved note. Now these last 2 examples get a fair bit more complex. The first one, I'm going to take a pedal point type of thing and convert it to dyads. So you would take something like this, and convert the higher notes of the pedal, the parts that aren't just the A note, into dyads. Okay, so you can see there that I made use of every double stop I could reach and still get back to that pedal of the A note. So I had the first one, which is the major third. You have the C and the E. Then I play the fourth here, the D and the G. Then I'm up on the top strings, and I'm just using all of the Johnny B. Good type fourths. I have that. Then the C. And I'm into the box here. That whole step box again, this. So it can get a little bit complex to get under your fingers, bouncing back and forth like that and staying in time, making sure you're pedal in time. But if you really focus on the pedal part of it and make sure that comes down on the downbeat when you're hitting the first note of it, you can get a little bit loose with the other stuff and still sound pretty cool. You just want to make sure it has a good rhythmic quality to it. Now finally, for the fourth example, I am going to tap some double stops. All right, you saw there that I was doing what would be like a basic Eruption, Eddie Van Halen type of thing, and I was playing it as two notes. So I'm playing both of these notes by playing it almost as a bar with my right hand, then pulling off the two notes here, the C and the E, and then hammering onto the fourth, the D and the G, so it's a fourth harmony there. So it's then the same thing up here, so it's an octave higher. And then I shifted the whole thing over to the whole steps. And then just to be cute with it at the end, I went into single note tapping. And got a little bit more standard old Van Halen with it, but thinking about the double stop the whole way through. So I hope you find those quick ideas useful. Again, I didn't get into tabs on all of it. It's more of a conceptual lesson, so you can think of your own ways to use double stops that you normally would use and take them out into different ways of expressing yourself and making cool guitar leads. If you come up with anything cool, definitely share it with me. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I get back to everyone as soon as I can. And until next time, guys, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.